Good morning, Jasiri lovers, and thank you for always tuning in. I mean, this morning I feel half asleep, but the other part of me that is awake is on full-on Jasiri mode, so you have nothing to worry about. But let me start by asking the ladies, how was your night?
I don't understand when you say you're half asleep. What? You did this girl, this blessing. Sometimes you do like I don't understand. Amoeba. She didn't say anything.
You said she does like I haven't heard that as an insult in a long time.
Amoeba.
Why are you doing like an amoeba?
I tell you. She didn't say anything. You didn't say 3, 4, 5 words. It didn't pass 5 words.
Yeah. What did you do that you're not feeling that you're feeling half asleep?
I just said, okay.
You come and confess.
Watching a reality show.
Which one? Just name the show.
The mole.
No, I'm done with the mole. It's The Perfect Match.
I finished it already. What episode are you on?
I'm still on episode 2.
She just
Those people are not serious.
I know.
You did it up?
Because she was on the mole, and I just found. Oh God.
I finished the mole too.
How did you see it?
But have you watched season 1?
Of the mole? You cannot start season 2 without.
Yeah.
Well,
I love that
always
show.
Go back to start.
So we actually gave
I'm not sure they're done with
Korede
season
an
2.
assignment for this for season 2 because she likes it. So we gave her an assignment and I gave her a prize fund. If she can figure out who the mole is, she gets some money. So she now said, let's do another part. If I can figure out who will figure out the mole, can I get... Yeah, so my daughter has a whole chart and she's canceling out suspects and she's saying this is the reason. We're making her tell us the reason why someone is the mole. No, I love seeing her do it.
But I
love
guessed
it.
right for season 1.
No, you're a cook.
I guessed
Cassie,
right.
Abby, can't see, Abby.
Yes, I just knew. She was too ditzy to not be the mole. Just...
Well,
I'm sorry.
We've given you guys some good recommendations.
Actually.
But let me tell you, if you like real estate, guys, owning Manhattan.
You said so.
this.
I was looking for. Do you know? I almost called her over the weekend, but I was just so busy.
And it's been popping up on my
called you
screen.
to ask you the title so I
Watch
could
it.
save it in my list.
No, it's been
The
popping up.
house, I said there's one house that if you tell me
makes
that I
you
will
dream.
move in.
Apart from everything, I think why I like these series that it makes you dream.
I'm telling
It makes
what is
you-
possible.
Yeah.
You know?
Hope for something. Just sometimes we all need
We're
to
going to
dream
stop
a
having
little.
to remove
Takes you out of your own
we might need
reality.
to, we might need to remove hope from our vocabulary because it's becoming a little bit overused in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen who are watching us, we do have an exciting show. Like, it's, of course, the full thing happening. Blessings and Catherine, are you ready? This question, I love it. I saw it on Twitter. So I saw a tweet from @Morris_Monye on X that has ignited some very interesting conversations. He asked what I thought was a very simple question. Why don't we have a jury system in Nigeria? Now, some of the answers were funny, but for me, the majority made me really, really sad about the lack of faith many of us have in ourselves and in our systems. Now, before we look at the replies, ladies, what do you think? A jury system, what do they call it? A jury of your peers. Sitting down and judge 12 people of your peers made up of any religion, ideology, gender, deciding your fate in this good. Nigeria.
We're fine.
You're fine with the judges that you have?
Yes.
I need to emphasize.
Honestly, because I can't even imagine, right? Already we're still having a system full of bias with the ones that we have. Then having a jury, Nigerians that are extremely sentimental, extremely judgmental. Yeah. Now we're good.
I think we're too corrupt to have a jury. Yeah, as a people.
It's like duplicating the corruption.
I they tell you, you will just meet someone and say, guys, you bring the money, this is 5M.
Yeah,
Bam.
And it's a matter of majority.
You sit down,
so even if you are a pastor,
are we doing this or are we not? Then you'll be looking at yourselves, and then before you know it, someone begins to crack.
Is you and Mama Risi on the jury?
Then you are there. The others are just seeing the 5M. Listen, we are not that disciplined. We're not mature enough to have a jury system.
So let's look at the tweets. But before we look at the tweets, let me give you a little bit of history. There actually was a jury system in Nigeria at some point in time. In fact, Lagos had a jury system on criminal matters, which was operating as late as 1976 before it was abolished by the military. So we've done it. And maybe I don't know why the military abolished it, but it seemed to have been done successfully or not. But the military was saying something about laymen being sitting down in judgment when they don't have sort of the experience and the understanding of the law. But, it's TV. Everybody looks at TV, especially American TV, and they're like, why don't we have a jury system? Let's look at the replies, because I was laughing, sincerely. So someone said, so I've just seen a tweet about why we don't have a jury system in Nigeria, and I can categorically say that throughout my stay in Nigeria, I've not met 12 people I would trust to sit on a jury panel.
No.
Is he lying?
No, he's not lying.
Can we find 12 righteous men and women?
No.
Even my family members, I know which ones.
Like, you have not found 12 people.
My mother, I believe your ministry.
A cold one for you. Let's see what else we have in terms of the replies.
No. Let's be honest.
But it's not lying, though. It's the truth. Like, even amongst your friends or your family, you know the people that you cannot trust to sit. Even yourself. Ask yourself, can you trust yourself to sit on a jury
without being sentimental?
If someone comes now, let's say you're a Christian, like strong in the faith and all that, and then someone comes with a tattoo just as funny, hey, it's guilty. He must die in prison.
But if I was your family member right now, I'd be offended. Blessing said, even her family members.
No.
I
know which one I cannot trust. The one I'm following, I can't trust him to be in part of a jury.
That won't enter. But you know, somebody in the family, you gotta know who. And
you know who.
Do you really know? You know, sabi person finish. You don't really know person.
You don't saw anybody. But the idea is to believe that at least to a certain level of education.
No, people
at a certain
use religion.
age,
No, religion will be that umbrella, that canopy. Huh? People will wear that canopy. Like, I'm serious.
Just take a look at social media and ask yourself, those people that are commenting on this post, should they be sitting on a jury? That's your answer.
Oh my God.
I swear.
No, so we're having it's the village people. It's like they don't want this conversation to work. But
no, it was major on X, guys. This was
major
question, just normal question. Probably
to be honest, I've never thought about it for Nigeria. Never. Like it had never
crossed my mind. Probably the guy just finished watching something.
He was watching Suits, apparently. Voila. I told you. So that's also a thing we need to also realize. So much exposure to like American television and America's systems. Many people start to think in context that their own systems can work like that as well. Meanwhile, you don't have the American context and background.
We don't.
But let me give you guys some more tweets. Anyway, so Gracie Cerebral says, to start with, someone will first eat the money for local accommodation for the juries and then count them in face me, I face you. Another person will eat the money for their bus and they will trek. They will now be giving them watery beans. Yay!
Oh my God.
Yay!
Gracie.
Gracie, did we do something to you before?
They will trek.
They will trek.
Now, and she said they will now be giving them watery beans.
Let's look at another one. So apart from, so this is because DDS, I think he meant DSS, will go and carry them one by one if it doesn't favor their oga at the top. Because after the first few sittings, they may likely be bribed because someone will use jazz on them. Because someone could be victimized or fired for missing work on court days and so on. And so even if you have a jury system, there's a lot more. Your society needs to support it. You're going to be registered when you turn 18. It's almost like the tax system. You're registered when you turn 18. They can send you letters at any point in time. You have to have a very, very good, almost life and death reason to be excused from jury duty unless the lawyers on either side say they don't think you're fit for the jury. And your office has to give you the day off. So this one. Apart from religious, tribal, skin color, and appearance biases, Nigerians are severely biased in so many other ways that haven't even been discovered yet. 12 jury members can find you guilty for 12 different reasons, totally unrelated to your crime. I laughed.
And do you know that Nigerians are also a set of people. They're very vocal. This was people who know who votes good leaders go on jury system. Do you know that as vocal as Nigerians seem to be, there are also people that struggle with having a mind of their own.
Yes.
You know, I saw something on TikTok. They say those are the people that don't listen in class at the back, and they say, does this increase or decrease? They creases. Because they're not sure which one. They say creases. That's what the jury will
this is wrong. Someone says your country needs to be united before you have a jury system. Also, if judges can be bribed easily, then juries only need spaghetti and noodles to set you. Kilo day. No, see, Nigerians were not having this question. Wow. They were not interested. So someone else said, people don't realize how involved the jury process is. The reason it won't work in Nigeria is we can't execute it. It requires several things to work ahead of time. The government to know your address, know its voters, be able to send and receive questionnaires from the public. And he goes on to say that basically Nigeria would be a completely different country if it could even think of having a jury system. So before we even say have a jury system, the ability for us to think about it is you that will read this one, Catherine.
May they find you guilty because of your tribe or because they don't like your hairstyle.
No, please.
No, please.
That's what I said now.
We are good.
Imagine African mothers. No, my mother would even, as you're walking in, just send him to the execution.
No, yes. And because they can't talk, they'll just be looking at you. Yes. You know how judgmental African mothers are?
No.
Imagine wait. We need to act this out. I'm a jury member. You're walking in now.
No, I'm walking in. I'm just in my hairstyle.
They won't even think to themselves. You say, oh, really? Just this one. Nice is beauty.
And you know what? So what also happens in some jury situations is that they can be gagged by the judge, which means that they don't want them to read newspapers, watch TV, talk to their family members about it, be on social media. Work. This idea, the person will be in jury duty, be tweeting. Do you people see this judge? Actually, we're in the judge here.
That's why that tweet said they'll put them in face me and face you. But still, we don't function in isolation. We'll look for the other dream. Baba, you don't sleep. How far now? You do all right? You see this thing?
You'll not be gisting the case. But you know that thing that lawyer said? Me, I don't deal. I don't know if there are any more tweets on this issue or long. I don't know. I don't know.
Paper scissors guilty.
They don't want to because they don't like your hairstyle. They will find you. No, serious.
Hairstyle, tell Gina. The moment they see earring on 2 ears, especially if you're a guy.
If you're a guy. Tattoo. That's what I said. Like, what's that on your hand?
Eléyìí.
Ó ti lọ. Ẹ sọ fún mi olóṣè. George, ẹ má jà rojọ́ rẹ̀ olóṣè mú wọn pé olóṣè. Ẹ rí bó ṣe rí ni. And as I said, it makes me sad. Because while we can laugh at these tweets, it's showing us how much lack of faith we have in our systems to be able to be effective and do the right thing at the right time, the right way, and how much faith we lack in ourselves. So many of us believe we are biased, we're corrupt, we're morally corrupt, we're bribable. And that's how the consensus was quite clear on Twitter. And
then we catch crews on the matter. Look at the
You'll be using somebody's case to be catching crews on social media. You go and open an anonymous account, jury in, kinika, and be tweeting. See what they showed.
We used to catch crews. We're thinking in terms of entertainment and lightening things. We're not even looking at the gravity of what's in the ground. We're looking at, let's just be cruising and having a good time because this life, I can't come and keep myself.
I can't come and that's the general idea.
That question must really be in cloud 7.
No. He was caught up in suits. He was caught up in, and then, presenting your opening statements. I know all this because I wanted to be a lawyer. Your opening statements, your closing statement. I used to practice opening and closing statements in front of my toys. And I would drag my sister in to be judge. I grew up on Perry Mason, Angela Lansbury, Murder, She Wrote. Law continues to somehow be in my blood, you know? So I'm like,
you should,
oh man.
Should.
It might be my second career.
Yeah,
you can get a law degree at any
because
age.
You would
probably not in this Nigeria.
You know, imagine Tolu is in court. All the judge is hearing is her English. You know, like I said, it was a peculiar thing for me.
It wasn't weird.
I said I don't know how to.
Even the jury members be watching.
I tell you. Do you know? I don't know.
No, the jury will say, if it's this woman that's defending him, he's not innocent.
That's what she said.
He's innocent.
That's what she said. Even if it don't make any sense, it's the way she said.
I just said that you know what came to my mind. Maybe the defendant's lawyer is like, he's innocent. You can greet, you have manners. He's innocent.
You say your honor, sir. How was your night? He
say, Sherry, Iyikeji, kò manners.
Oh my goodness.
Guys, welcome again to Jasiri. So this time we're going to go on a break.
This is hilarious.
When we return, we'll explore more trending stories. Stay tuned. Jasiri will be right back.
Welcome back. We're streaming live on our social media platforms. We are at News Central TV. Please use the hashtag Jasiri to be a part of the conversation and so that we know that you are watching. Now, today isn't Mother's Day, but we're shining a light on the unsung heroes of our families and communities, the women. A powerful post by Andrew Dave Babare highlights the crucial roles women play in keeping afloat families, often behind the scenes. From working multiple jobs to sacrificing their own comfort for their loved ones, women are the backbone of many households. And here's what he had to say. Says women have been standing on their own for a long time already. Many families are practically kept alive by the effort of the woman in the house. She trades, she works, she grows crops and makes money to support her children and sometimes even pay for the existence of the man of the house. Wow. Women, start young, have something for yourself. Many families are not raising decent boys these days. He also says, for many people out there, you're able to go to school because mama sell food under rain and sun. Mama jump on the back of trucks before sunrise to go sell and buy in the bush market. She sweeps the streets or clean people's houses. She leaves you at home to go and do nanny. I think that's PJ. Mama work as a civil servant or in the military and paramilitary. My eyes are turning, reading PJ.
Is he Jamaican? Oh, that side.
Because the surname is not looking.
Andrew Dave Babare.
But we get the point of we get the point of the post, and it's an ode, I think, to the sacrifices, because there's a different thing when you become a mother.
Yes.
The sacrifices you're willing to make. The thoughts, we're talking about it in the makeup studio just before we came in now, the worries I have about raising a daughter in the 21st century, Gen Alpha. I get it every day in the house. You're talking about your older girls as well, and it's just a lot. It's really, really, really a lot.
It's plenty, and you have to create that time, no matter how tired you are. Especially when you have more than one child, you have to create the time for, whether you have 2 kids, create the time for 2 kids. Or time for A, time for B. If you have C, D, E, God bless you. You create the time for C, D, E as well. And then if you have one, but most importantly is that no matter how busy you are, no matter how full your hands are, no matter how bone tired you are, my dear sisters, mothers always have to create that extra.
You're on 24 hours a day.
You know, except for the irresponsible ones, right? I don't think that mothers can choose to be mothers, but I've seen fathers who choose not to be fathers. Right? I'll give an example. One of my neighbors, that day I was so pissed. I gave him a ride, right? It was just like a 10-minute ride, but he felt like hell because this guy just kept on. He was talking, so I asked him, "How is this?" At some point, I started chewing pen so that I will not see anything. I'm telling you. So I asked him how is his wife and their son, and he goes, the son wakes up. There's this bad habit he just started. He wake up in the middle of the night asking for tea. Anyways, I'm not the mother. I just left the mother to do her thing, and then early in the morning I rush out. It's not like I'm even going anywhere.
Please, did you speak to get to reduce that?
He rushed. It's not that he's going anywhere. He just goes.
It's not. I'm going to drop him nowhere, just so that he can avoid. I was holding myself, and he kept on talking and talking about how, he keeps telling his friends that are fathers that they should be less involved in raising the child, because most children grow up to love their mothers more. Like,
why is that, I wonder?
I know. Do you get? He said his wife now, she and the sister just sent their mother.
Clear, I'm not interrupting you. He actually said these things.
I wanted to puke. I was literally speeding in my mind. I'm like,
to where?
Just to get to where you're going. Blessing is very well behaved. I would have packed.
I was so angry that this guy gave me, he was like, so when I drop him, where would I go? I'm like, I'll turn back. He's like, no, there's a shortcut. I did not follow that shortcut because I was pissed. I could not see anything. I was just like, I'm not the one married to this guy. Blessings, just keep quiet. And the only thing that came out of my mouth was when he said the children grow up to love them. I'm like, why is that?
And why is
that
again?
It's just a natural thing. So most times it doesn't even. He has. He don't give her belly. She has given birth. That's his own. She just my own is just to work and provide. This guy is not providing nada. Like, no. I couldn't have been more upset that day.
So women have always worked, and I think part of the issues that many people are struggling to get is they don't consider what is happening at the home as work. So your mother, your wife. You're expected. It's supposed to be inbuilt. Somehow it's in my DNA how to be a wife and how to be a homemaker and how to be a mother. No, it's not. It's socialization. It's a culturalization. You grow up in societies and cultures that tell you this is how. From a very young age, you are acculturated. You're socialized to be a certain kind of way. So when you grow up, without even thinking about it, you fall into line. You just told the line that's been laid before you. And now when women are saying, on average, the work that women do at home is even more than the work they do when they work outside of the home.
So there's so many compartments and so many components that you're servicing in the house. You're making sure the kids are fine. You're making sure that the house is tidy. You're making sure that things are working. Women have even learned now to do. It's the women who have the the numbers of artisans. You have the electrician's number, you have the plumber's number, you have the whoever's number again, but you just have them, The gen repair guy, you have the number because you are the one that wants to make sure everything
that your kids are comfortable. Because when the child is not sleeping at night, guess who else is not sleeping at night?
You. And on top of that, is out you are the one that comes home and you're demanding or you're expecting fresh food, and she cooks. She goes to the market, she cooks, and in the night you still expect her to come and meet you at your point of need.
Do you know, I don't know if you guys watched that viral video. She wanted to say something else, but I'm so happy she caught herself. I saw you. But I don't know if you guys remember that viral video from one of the late night talk show hosts in the US, whether it was Jimmy Kimmel or the other guy. Yeah. They were stopping fathers and their children and asking them, what is the child's birthday? Do you know the child's best friend? Never. Do you know if your child has allergies? Do you have the doctor's number? Babe. I think almost every one of them failed. They now asked the mothers. The mothers were just reeling everything off. They're the ones. So, and then when we think about it, we're not just talking about physical labor. There's the emotional labor. Yeah. There's also emotional work. Right. Planning a menu is emotional work.
Yes.
Packing for a trip, I'm going to say right now, is emotional work. Knowing which birthday your child is going to because she's friends with this one and they're not best friends today is emotional. Like, even the women are still expected to emotionally connect you with your own family. So if the husband is not close to his family anymore, guess who gets the blame? The wife. It's the wife. But if he's still close, guess who's propelling him to be close? The wife. It's a conversation we need to have, and I think a bedrock means it's spread out and there's a foundation and it's more than one person. More women are working outside of the house than they have ever because one income is not enough.
Yes.
It's really never been enough, but now it's really not enough. So if we're both working outside of the house and then we both have a family we're catering for, share some of that load, especially the emotional and load
it's funny because people expect that the dynamics would, for the men, the dynamics can change. If I'm working and I'm not earning enough, you should be able to support. But they don't expect it to change for the women.
If I'm working, do with what I'm doing.
Exactly. So if you're working and you want me to support, then you have to also work at home. You have to share the physical and emotional. But no, things have changed. It's not only men that are working, but it's only women that can take care of the children.
And you're still feeling like those are intangibles that shouldn't even be recognized or shouldn't even be
because
added or
you should know how to do it.
Yeah, because you should know how to do it. Guys, FYI, it's a lot.
It's the ones that tell you now that if you're washing, I see that a lot. And Nigeria and these conversations around who's the head of the house, who sits in front between your mother and your girlfriend, if you're washing clothes with washing machine, you're not a real woman. Oh God, did you go out and catch bushmeat last night?
I don't understand.
It's a conversation we need to have. I read a lot of research, and Pew Research from earlier this year showed around the world, young women from like 25 to their late 30s are saying that they're no longer interested in marriage.
Yes, if you talk to young people now,
you have to specify young women. You have to specify young women, and the boys are saying
don't go too far.
And the boys are saying that they believe that feminism has ruined women and that the young girls they're meeting now are not like their mothers. They want women like their mothers. And these girls are saying, I cannot have the kind of relationship
I think
my parents
they're quite short-tempered now, and they don't even have time. I think nowadays the young women between the ages we just mentioned are quite impatient. They don't have time. They want to first groove and enjoy themselves, even if it means they're waking up and filing their nails and doing absolutamente nada. That's what they want to do.
What?
Absolutely nothing.
Yes.
No, I like the way you say it. So,
absolutamente nada.
No, absolutamente nada.
They don't want to do anything. I want to lie in bed. I don't have to make food for anybody. If I want to eat pizza, I eat. If I want to drink garri and groundnut, I want to do so on my terms.
I feel like a lot of men are now pissed because then, the idea that women had growing up, men are scarce, the only thing you can do with your life is to get married. But women no longer believe that. If you're scarce, that's your business.
They told us, do not have a scarcity mentality.
Exactly.
Who came here? Somebody was telling us like 3 weeks ago, okay, it was femininity. When it comes to men, she said she doesn't chase. And you should not have a scarcity mentality.
Marriage is no longer an accomplishment. I don't know if they saw it that way, but it's no longer an accomplishment. If you ask me when I'm married, I ask when you're having children or if you're enjoying your marriage.
So is that are you enjoying your marriage?
Yeah,
Then you know how they deflect. You are very rude. You are such a rude.
So are you?
You are very rude young woman. And what do you mean by that? But I think the pressures from our era, our mothers, the pressure of you have to be married at a certain age. But I like it, I must say, I like it that young people are fighting that, they are fighting that mentality now. That pressure, they're just pushing it aside and say, this is not me, I'm not doing it. So there's no more pressure. It's very rare, and I think that happens, the pressure I mean, when parents are, or when girls or young women are very, allow their families just lord it over them. I don't think you should, because if you are under pressure and a man is talking to you, that man sees your pressure. He smells
They smell the
miles.
And I feel like...
Wait, hold this thought. We're going to continue this conversation. We have a commercial break coming up. When we come back, we'll continue this, and then we'll get into something else before we wrap things up today. Stay with us. Oh my God, the conversation off air is coming on air because the ladies are not ready to let go of this, but we'll just touch on it for like another 5 minutes because we have something special we want to bring up. Yeah. But again, you know, I told you I like data. So I saw that Pew research, and this was research done around the world, not just in the West. And if you also note, you guys need to check out what's happening in South Korea. South Korea's birth rate has literally plunged.
Yes.
The women said they're not having children anymore because one, they're not liking the caliber of the men they're seeing, and then the society is not supporting of women who have children and want to go back to work. So now they're saying they don't even want, like South Korean women right now. Go and check the articles out about it. It is absolutely, it's heartbreaking, but it's also fascinating to see. It's fascinating. So I told you I like research. The Pew research is out. It's showing that young girls, young women around the world are saying that they're not seeing what is in marriage for them. The other research I want to point to is actually showing that among a demographic of people, married women, married men, unmarried men, and married women, guess who is the happiest? Unmarried women are said to be the happiest demographic. Married men also live longer when they get, men tend to live longer and have better health outcomes when they're married. Because what? Women are the ones who are making appointments, encouraging you to go take after your health. So when you look at the research and you look at the data, there's a lot that's put on women when they enter into a marriage. And so when people are seeing it, like Blessings, they're like, it's like he's not going to me.
This one will be thief. She has permitted it. Just strategize and permitted.
But there's still good men out there, and there's still good marriages. And I think that's one thing we need to also do. We need to highlight. I see people's comments a lot when certain things are posted on social media. They'll be attacking some of the blogs, and they'll tell them it's only negative things. I mean, my marriage will work in Jesus' name. There are good marriages out there, and there are good men and good women.
The thing is, I believe that the young people know that the good ones exist, right? But the society and parents need to pipe down the pressure, right? Because I was saying off air that if you allow me go out there and find the one, regardless of the time frame that you're putting on me, I would find the one. But you're saying, okay, if you're not married before 30, then you are irresponsible. Then at 32, let me be irresponsible. Let me be happy.
But a man who's not married at 40 is sometimes not irresponsible. No, some men do get it. If they're not married at 40, they get called irresponsible. But when men tell us that they want to have certain things before they get married, people are like, okay, it makes sense because they're expecting. So that's also, remember in the conversations we've had with people like Senator, that there are expectations and burdens placed on men as well. And I just think both of us need to see each other's challenges and burdens. But something else we need to ask, because in this conversation, especially when it comes to younger women choosing to stay unmarried, there's a narrative of what the family system will eventually look like if women decide to wait till longer to get married and even have children. So the impact on population, where you have very extreme age brackets possibly as well, much older parents close to retirement ages, and a much younger population that is lacking skills and maturity for leadership positions. But I think nature finds a way to balance itself and fill vacuums.
It does. I think so too. And I also think, I believe that not everybody is put on earth to have to make babies. If you don't want to have a baby, it's okay. Not everybody is meant to be married in this earth. Not everybody is meant to have kids on this earth. You know, every woman will say, oh, I'd love to carry my own baby or carry my... But it's interesting that I have met women who say, I'm not interested in having kids. As in, they own it. Nobody is forcing. It's not because of pressure. Huh? They just say, I don't think I have it in me to put my life on hold and focus on somebody else and look after
Are they not selfish?
No. But that
and when someone says, are they not selfish, what I remind them is a lot of times when men become fathers, their life doesn't necessarily change in the manner that women's lives change when they're mothers. If you're a career woman, you will be putting your career on hold. And it can, and unfortunately, let's be honest, impact your ability to climb the ladder. But again, studies show that when men get married, they're seen as more responsible. And it can actually help propel their corporate growth up the ladder. So
Why
do you see
doesn't
what I'm
that?
saying?
Why doesn't that translate
For women as well.
And I don't lie, most times when I hear, oh, the age gap between blah, 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 a woman who gets married at, say, 18 and has her 9th child at 40-something, there's still
Most
the
likely
age
maybe 30
gap,
something.
right? So what?
Maybe
getting
30
married at
something.
18?
Late 30s, yeah.
Maybe
It can happen like
late,
that.
maybe late 30s. There's still that age gap between you and the last child that you had. So if you will train your child well, you train your child well. It's not about age gap or so. I'm not me because I know, of course, there are biological benefits to having children early. But I'm just saying all that subtle pressure has to stop, right? Because at the end of the day, I remember a friend of mine said her mom was asking her when she wanted to get married, and at that time she was talking to two guys. One of them had hoodlum tendencies, and the other one had a tendency to be violent. So when the mom says, the mother found out she was talking to guys, and she was like, bring one of them home. So like, okay, hoodlum or wife beater, which one do you want? Because that's the one I'm talking to right now. If you won't allow me to look for other options, then choose one.
Now, what did the mother say?
I didn't get the rest.
There's the shock of it. No, the shock of it first. The mother was like,
Actually, it's not your portion. It's
but first of all,
We've gone to portion situation.
we always do that.
We do. All right, so we'll leave that for there now. But before we go, we're not wrapping up. We still have a lot of time. But the conversation we had earlier on whether or not Nigeria should have a jury system highlighted for me, in particular, one of the reasons people are looking to leave the country, a lack of faith in the system. But we all know that Japa is not all it's cut out to be. We had Waka Waka Doctor, a travel and migration expert recently, and he spoke about the issues around assimilating and learning a new culture, not just what we see in the movies. Here's what he said. So let's talk Japa. 1 week, someone is in the country with you. You've been at an O1 Bear. You're talking about making plans. I know EPL season is coming up. And then you call them next week and they say, Baba, I don't Japa. And while the percentage of Nigerians who are Japaing compared to our general population is still quite low, the Japa and brain drain conversations continue to dominate headlines. So, Waka Waka, when people reach out to you and they say, okay, this is what we're planning to do, what are the reasons they're giving you for wanting to leave Nigeria?
Just on a side note, I always tell people that if you see your HR, the lead HR on Friday, and she has new braids, she's not coming on Monday.
Excuse me,
She has braids. She's going to UK on Monday.
Wow.
There are signs.
There are signs. No, but I get that braids thing. When I want to travel, I don't want to be disturbed.
Exactly.
Exactly. They do the million braids. Or
whatever. Now thank you for 2 months. Okay.
So, I mean, there's a popular saying that I give to a lot of people who follow me, and they know this. I always say that if where you're going to is better than where you are at the moment, then move. It doesn't matter what the name of the country is. It doesn't matter what the flag looks like. So long as that country is better than where you are at the moment, move. You have 197 plus countries. And like you said, Nigeria is, according to the passport ranking, 98, which means that there are at least 90 countries in terms of passport strength that are better than Nigeria. So it means that you have 90 plus opportunities out there. So people go out, the needs and wants of man are insatiable. Yeah, you're always looking for better career prospects, better opportunities to make money. You're looking for security. You're raising a family, you're getting kids, you want them to have stronger passports. So access to healthcare, access to just basic infrastructure. So these and many more are reasons that people give most times for wanting to move abroad.
Anyway, this Japa thing has so many branches, and some of them are not wholesome. Because I've heard of people that are selling their properties, quitting their job. In fact, they are uprooting their whole family to relocate abroad. What are the things that people need to consider before going? Because I have heard of people that have done that, and it didn't all go well for them. I don't know if it's on the show, we took a man that was crying, that he sold his house, and now they're living in this shoebox in UK. What kind of life is that? What do they consider?
Moving abroad requires a lot of planning. You don't just wake up one morning and say, it is time for me to move. I'm selling all my stuff and going.
That's the first level of excitement. I'm moving abroad. Everybody's excited for you. But
my brother did it. That guy sitting next to me in church did it. The neighbor has moved to Canada. They're not telling you the whole story. So you see them doing it. And there was a time, there was a Japa wave. It was a huge thing. And you probably want to go to the UK so that you can say in it, just because right? That's the only reason why you want to go to the UK. I want to say in it, or I want to feel snow. Okay, that's the only reason why you want to go. It takes a lot of planning. I always tell people, give it at least a year to be sure that you want to move abroad. There's a change of weather, change of diet. You might have to learn a new language. I mean, I go months without eating amala. Because you're not going to find it. So these are some of the things you have to think about. You have to think about the budget required to move abroad. You have to think about you're not going to see your friends. You're not going to see your family members for a while.
Basically, starting all over.
You're starting afresh. And that's why I always tell people that moving abroad or travel in general is not even about the money. It's about courage. You have the courage to leave everything you know behind and start afresh.
Or what you don't know.
Yeah. And also having at the back of your mind that it might fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when it fails abroad, it's always woeful.
Yeah.
Why is it so heavy when they fail?
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to, because Lolo talked about it now, the realities of it. I remember this TikTok wave, this Japa wave, I remember being on TikTok. When I just joined the TikTok then, there's this particular song, TikTok, don't stop, remind me of everything. They're counting down to when they go, and then 0 days to Japa, and then they're gone. And that's the last you hear from them. We're not hearing about the struggle. We're not hearing about whether it's good or not. Tell us something. You've gone. We've been counting down for you, but just tell us something. So we do not exactly hear about the realities. I'm not saying it's all bad, but it can't be all good. There are perks, but of course there are also challenges. So have you faced any of those challenges, or do you know of those challenges?
There are loads of challenges, but again, you don't expect people to talk about them because it's social media, yeah? So people always want to show you the glamour and the rates and the good stuff. But of course, like I said, you're going to face a lot of challenges. Loneliness is one of them. I'll tell you a quick story. When I moved abroad for the first time, I moved to Saudi Arabia, which was the Middle East. Okay, and you had to learn the language. So I didn't understand the language, and Saudi Arabia was very conservative at the time. So they had, if you go to a restaurant, for instance, you had doors for men and women. Doors for women. So you can't even meet a woman. I was there for 18 months. You can't go for
a date.
Date what? Months. What 18 months? I can't even meet woman to toast woman. How will you do it? Wow. And you had to start learning a new language to talk to people, and it was more difficult because I was seeing patients. And, you then begin, is this all worth it? But from the start, I moved because I wanted money. So I didn't care about whatever challenges, you throw at me. I just wanted the money. So long as I was getting money, I'm fine, And people also don't talk about the discriminations that come with moving abroad, racism. But again, I always tell people, why have you moved? You made up your mind. You decided you were going. So don't let it faze you. Okay, discrimination is always there. You're black, they're white. Even Africans are discriminating against Africans.
Yeah.
I had a supervisor who was Egyptian and was discriminating. You bloody Nigerians. What is wrong with you? You think because you are white African, you are an African.
Yeah, especially those in the north. They say things like North Africa is not Africa. So that's discrimination.
The Moroccans and the Egyptians always feel that, we're closer to Europe. So that's another challenge. So, like I said, it takes a lot of courage. You're going to leave your family. You're only going to see your family on maybe video calls, WhatsApp.
And that's if you jackpot legally.
Legally.
But we even know of families that go there and their relationships also get strained.
Yeah. Get strained. You go. So the thing is, you've been eating eba for 20 years of your life with ogbono soup. Then you now move abroad and you can see pasta and English breakfast, and you can see different garnishings. You want to try something else.
You'll tell us why you're laughing.
I don't know.
Is it Waka Waka that turned into a comedian on you?
Catherine does not even know how to gossip.
She doesn't.
She will just start laughing.
So I'll be at the event and I want to tell you something. I'll just be like, Catherine, don't look that way.
Do I really laugh a lot like
it's not the conversation. It's not the conversation that's making Catherine laugh. Something else happened behind the scenes.
Yes.
So anyway, Waka Waka's, that conversation has been ringing in my ear. And of course, News Central did a special report on the Japa Syndrome. And we found out that there are a number of Nigerians who have found themselves stranded in Vietnam because fake agents are convincing them that they have work permits and they're going to be working in Vietnam and everything's sorted, and they get to Vietnam and guess what? It's not a real permit, it's not a real work permit, it might be a student permit, it may not even be real at all, and then they're stuck in the country. And we're working on a part 2 of that special report as well.
I am asking, there's how somebody will yarn you some things. You know how in your church mind, you suspect 1 or 2 things. Isn't that enough to
Desperation
hold you?
will not let you.
Okay, desperation, yeah, but in the desperation, get sense.
You know,
because we always talk about, this is the first time we're hearing Vietnam.
Yeah.
We always hear that it's women who are coerced or who are lied to, painting the picture of everything is going to be rosy when they get to Italy. That's what we hear a lot, Italy. But now we're hearing Vietnam. So the fact that someone's telling me, Kat, okay, you know, so there's something going on in Vietnam, I need you to be part of it. I will first think Vietnam.
That's why I like this movie,
understand.
Oloture, because it shows part of the harsh realities of what actually happens to some of these ladies. It's easy for your friends to just come and tell you, just be so
don't
so
worry,
amount.
we'll go through
You get
Libya,
there,
we'll go through,
and then it's
okay.
easy, and then you get there and you start sending money to your family. Yes, you will send money to your family. That's if you survive to tell the story.
Yeah.
I don't
when
know.
do you start sending the money? Because that's when they start telling you about how much it took to transport you, how much it took to feed you,
That
how
part,
much
they
it took
make
to
you feel
house
as if-
you. In fact, if you're not careful, you end up you're paying back in kind. You're not necessarily paying in cash, whatever the value.
Careful or not, that's what will happen.
That's what will happen.
Yeah, but they make you feel as if, oh, don't worry, in 3 months, you should be able to sort out all the expenses that we
But by this time, given the fact that this thing ends up being front page news, special reports from all over the world on it, we still have people going, still making these same decisions. And Waka Waka is talking about, okay, when you're talking about the legitimate route, what is the reason why you are going? What's your why?
Because we have the it's not my portion syndrome.
Yeah, it's not my portion because it happened to.
It doesn't
It's
make
not
it
going to
happen
happen to me.
Yeah. But I always tell people, you want to go, it's okay. But can you go properly? Waka Waka said, doctor said, it takes a lot of planning.
Yeah.
But we are not, like I said, we are not a very organized people and we are quite impatient. I want to go now. Emeka has gone there and is telling you how things are rosy, how you work, how
You get there and call Emeka and Emeka will not pick up the phone.
Do you know how many people have gone to the airport, whichever your final destination was, and they call the people who told them to call? And the people don't pick up.
Was he the one who was telling us the story? I don't know. Somebody told us a story recently of a girl who got to the airport, was calling her friend who had told her, don't worry, I'll put you up, did not
I
answer.
think it's her. But my cousin went to pick up his family who went to Cameroon and we're coming back to Belgium for, they lived in Belgium. So, and he meets this young girl who was there calling whoever she said she was coming to stay with, calling the person. I say call the shaggy out of the number. The person didn't pick up. So she was my cousin had to ask her, are you okay? Because she realized, when you see your person,
so we know Nigerians,
Yeah. Are you coming? And she said yes. And that's how she ended up living with them.
Wow.
She came
He took in a stranger.
He took in a stranger
And
who was
that's
from the
even
same.
risky.
And that's how she got a childminder's job. She went to school until she got her documentation regularized.
And that person
and
never
now
reached
she's
out
okay.
again.
Huh?
And that person never reached out
And that
again.
person never reached out again.
Wow.
And that person never reached out again.
And I think one of the things that he says that many of us don't take notice of is the racism. So for Nigerians and Africans leaving the continent where we all look alike, we're all black, different shades of it, we don't have racism. We have ethnicism or religious bigotry to each other. But when you go out, and it's just by looking at the color of your skin that someone is judging you, it's a big wake-up call. I still remember being quite young. I was in Nashville with my dad. We're walking down the streets, and we see this old white woman. She sees my dad, and my dad is a tall man, taller than me. He has the Bomashaw tribal marks and everything, but he's holding a little girl's hand. This woman crossed the road to avoid passing us. Nashville is not so much of a good example because it's still the segregated history of the city and the region and everything. But she crossed the road and continued walking in the same direction. So we crossed each other on parallel sides of the road. She crossed the road just to avoid walking past us.
That can be a lot to take. It's just that, we are thick-skinned.
Yeah.
And,
No matter how thick-skinned, it will affect you.
Yeah.
Imagine getting there and then you're hearing about racism, but you don't understand the gravity until you get there and someone thinks you will stain them just by touching them.
A friend of mine's son asked me, and he said he didn't want to be rude, and that he thought if I would wash, my color would fade.
You didn't look at his parents.
He was innocent.
Yeah, he's innocent. You did not look at his parents.
No, his mom is very liberal. So his mom and I are friends. So his mom said that he had an interesting question to ask. And then I said he can ask it, no matter how uncomfortable it sounded. And he asked me, he said, if he touched me or if I wash, does it fade? Does it come back again? Because, and then the mom said she is doing her best to expose him to different kinds, because Europe, Belgium, for example, it's a bit, they can be a bit, they can be a bit closed-minded.
But how about even training children not to see colors?
How? It's not possible. Anybody who tells you that they're colorblind, I don't buy it. You see color. The decision is after you see color, blinding yourself.
Yeah.
Then saying, yes, this person is black, but I'm looking at them based on their ability, their qualifications, who they are as a person. Yeah. You have to see the color.
You have to see the color.
So then you decide that the color doesn't matter. Don't tell me you don't see the color.
So the thing is, imagine growing up in South Africa where you have a mixture. You have white people, you have the mixed people, you have black people. But you're used to it. You've seen all of these things. You're playing together as children. It is only when you come to a realization of, okay, these people are actually white, like white. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Like, it will get to a point where you now realize that, okay, there's a color difference, and it's not just color, there's a whole history and all that. So I'm saying, like, how about we just, children play black or white?
It's the pre-programming of the kids, because if you see kids, put the children black, white, whatever. So, parents, we need to do better, but it's in the West, in Canada, in America, some parts are better than other parts. So you have to train. You find yourself teaching your children to be tough skin. Just keep it moving.
There are sundown towns. They're called sundown towns in the U.S. And I never understood why when we would travel, there are some places like this. My father would be right below the speed limit. We don't stop for jack. We leave, we go straight through the town. So sundown towns in the U.S. are towns where black people are not caught outside after the sun goes down. And so the history from the civil rights movement and from slavery has continued into the 21st century. There are not so many of them now, but there are still sundown towns in the U.S. And black people are not caught outside after the sun have go down.
And black people, we know how to propagate a lot. You're supposed to say, listen, we are not doing more than one child. We will just go all the way, and then before you know it, they have the fear when you go to probably a city hall, and they see you coming with your
entourage.
There's a look. They can't really hide it because it's just there. Even if it's for 30 seconds, 10 seconds, you see it. So there's the imperceptible fear that you want to take over the country. You want to take over. If you leave these people are just going to grow like weeds.
And that's why someone like Donald Trump is gaining popularity. There's a whole new nationalism drive in Europe. And so it's just a big conversation. Choose where you're going wisely. Choose the why of why you're going wisely as well. Nobody can live that life, make that decision for you and your family, but have as much information about the politics, the social issues, the whatever it is, the race relations, the school system,
so that
whatever.
You know the issues there, and you know which one. You just choose your poison, basically.
At the end of the day,
choose your strong.
Since you people don't want to choose jury, it's fine. I'll still come back to this. Since we don't want to choose jury, we must choose other things.
Don't need jury.
I'll be a jury member if I have a crush on him.
Do I trust you?
He's innocent.
Do you trust this guy?
No.
You don't trust
myself.
On that note, we're going to wrap up. We've been on standby for a live coming to you from Port Harcourt, but it has not happened just as yet. So just a quick reminder that once that live does happen, we'll be taking it right here on News Central. We look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Please do have a good one. Be safe. And of course, don't do anything we wouldn't do.
Don't be a jury member.